Are there any schools the Mountain West should invite with mediation between them and the Pac-12 officially beginning? Or are there any adequate targets left to rebuild this conference? What's up, fellas? Now that I'm almost certain my Rebels are definitely staying in this conference, I feel like there's opportunity for the Mountain West to increase its value by adding schools. Schools with a good history of sports or high potential schools that could possibly boom in this new era of college football. But before we get into it, I'll get some things straight. I'm gonna try to keep it somewhat realistic. Like, I won't say we need to go out and add Miami, SMU, something crazy like that, because to be honest with you, I'm not a Mountain West homer. This will be from my perspective, a UNLV fan's perspective. This ultimately is what I think could help the Rebels. I don't care how it affects the conference in 10 to 15 years. I only care about the upcoming seasons up until 2032, which we are currently signed through. So that means I'll be focusing on teams that are in areas with good recruiting or matchups that I think will help UNLV's brand in the eyes of the college football world. My list is a little short. It only has 4 teams, so if we start backwards from 4, we start with Sac State. This is a little bit of a reach because their flirtation with the Pac-12 is very public, which is cool. They fit the vibe of a Pac team, but in my dream scenario for the Mountain West, this would allow the conference to double down in the Bay Area market that, similar to Vegas, but to a greater extent maybe, will show up if the team's on-field performance is worth watching. I feel that Sac State has a lot of potential to be a G6 contender. Their athletic program, from what I've seen, is one of the better ones at the lower level. They've been successful in fundraising, and they want to be a FBS program. So we wouldn't need to help them as much when it comes to the fees moving up. In the case of my rooting preference for UNLV, Sac State's involvement in the Mountain West would allow for more opportunity to recruit Northern California, with 2 teams in that area on our schedule every year, and a possible new rivalry, because if y'all didn't know, as of late, Vegas and the Bay Area have been beefing in sports. Whether it's us taking their teams or us just plain beating them, this could allow for us to start a natural rivalry. I know they aren't that close to Oakland, San Francisco, but it's generally considered the same area. Then add the fact that they took our former offensive coordinator, who we did like here, and I mean, I hope Marion does a good job, but there's already some contact there. This is a long shot though. I would like to see it happen. I don't think it's likely. Anyway, coming in at number 3, we got Weber State. This is a sneaky one. It hasn't been talked about a whole bunch, but if we could talk them into moving up, it's the Mountain West way back into the Utah market, which has always been a staple in this conference. Plus, I don't know much about Mormonism, but I do know that Mormons love football, so I can almost guarantee that they'll sell out most of their games if they move up. At least, I believe there will be buy-in from the Weber State fan base, and I also like their stadium. I think the scenery is beautiful around there. As for UNLV, adding Weber would help us with the ability to recruit Utah, maybe? I don't know. Truthfully, we've never done well there, but there are some ballers out there, and you need as many ballers as possible. It also just feels right playing a game in/against a team from Utah in the middle of October. The second most important team I feel the Mountain West should go after is Tarleton, home of such illustrious people like Co Wetzel, EJ Speed, and probably more. I don't know. Shit somewhere in Texas though. They've been doing work at the FCS level. To me, they fall into that high potential FCS team category that you could possibly get to move up, but they have been growing pretty quickly, going from Division 2 to FCS within the last 5 years, so maybe another jump would be a little too fast. I don't think it is. At least nothing in their recent history tells me that it would be too big for them. Tarleton has been investing a ton in their athletic facilities, and I mean, it's been showing up on the field. They just won their first playoff game at the FCS level, so it's not like they're doing it for nothing. The same premise I said about the culture around Weber State probably goes for Tarleton State too, because Texans love football. They literally make it their whole personality. I'm not knocking it. I'm just saying I expect them to have no problems with fan support. Most importantly though, it would get the Mountain West deeper into Texas. Let's be real. I feel like that's the way the Mountain West should start looking. Because if you're going to bring in a Texas team like UTEP, you're going to also have to give them another team that can be a natural rival besides New Mexico. As for UNLV, we do better recruiting Texas than any other state. At least that's how it was under Barry O. It might change with Mullen, but as of right now, I'd like to believe that that is one of our pipelines. And if we have more opportunity to be seen by these Texas kids, it could definitely help our recruiting when it comes to rankings, just overall talent on the team. I also like this because I like the color purple, and personally, I think it would be fun to have another Texas team in the Mountain West again with purple and black uniforms. This is not that far of a reach. The Mountain West has had its chance to get this done earlier, but for some reason it just wasn't, I don't know, like finalized or something. Either way, because the Mountain West couldn't get a deal done earlier, they'll have to contend with the Conference USA over the custody of Tarleton State. Moving on, number 1 on this list is Sam Houston State. This is the one that gotta happen. I know the Mountain West has been in contact with them and Sam Houston State told them no, but hey, sometimes you can't take no for an answer. Sometimes no means yes. I'm joking. Unless... Nah, okay. Still, I think they gotta keep trying. Sam Houston gives us everything Tarleton State would give us without having to pay those FBS application fees. So that way, not as much money would have to come out of UNLV's Mountain West payout to help a team move into the conference. But ultimately, I feel like Sam Houston State, being as good as they've been, at least this 1 year sample size they just gave us, they could immediately come over into this Mountain West and contend. Ultimately, really helping UNLV have a championship rival. I can see it now. Sam Houston, UNLV Mountain West Championship game, winner gets into the playoffs. You know the Pac-12 people hate me on that one, bro. I also really like their zesty little bear cat. I think it's adorable. If we want to do some honorable mentions, Montana State. I don't feel like they really add anything when it comes to value, but they've been really successful at the FCS level. And I like Washington Grizzly Stadium, so I think Montana has a really cool stadium. Both Dakotas, South Dakota State, North Dakota State, same thing, very successful at that level. Probably a bigger brand than most teams on here. I just don't know how well it'll translate to the next level. Of course, you got to put UC Davis in there. They're technically already a member, and I think it's actually their goal for them to move into the Mountain West as a football playing member within the next 10 years, but I'm more looking at the short term, so that's why I didn't really put them on this list. But they would probably be in where Sac State was on this list. Well, that's all I got for y'all today. If you made it this far in the video, for real, thank you. I definitely appreciate it. Simply, I love talking about college football. So if you have a problem with my list, or you have schools that you think should have made this list, let me know what you think in the comments. But I think you should like the video.